All right, Dan, thank you very much. 2 days later, still no assurances from Apple that iCloud is safe. This after hackers targeted the accounts of some big-name celebrities and released some personal, sometimes nude pictures. Now, most of us have things on iCloud. How can we protect ourselves? Tech expert Dave Hatter joining me this morning. You had an interesting conversation with Jessica. She goes, what about regular people like us? I assume very few people want to see me naked, but we're all at risk?
Apple claims there's 320 million iCloud users, and pretty much everyone's at risk. You can go out and find forums where people will offer to hack anyone.
Really?
And all they really need, if it's someone that knows you well and they know your Apple ID, and they can use like a cracking tool to guess your password, they can easily get in and literally download your entire phone backup. And that's part of the problem with this, Rob. It's not just that people are intentionally sharing stuff to the cloud and it gets exposed. You may have features turned on your phone to back up your phone, which makes a lot of sense. You don't want to lose your contacts. You want to share them across devices, right? Because in theory, you can get them from any internet-enabled device. Here's the problem with that. So those backup files are out there. There's software you can get, and again, coupled with either changing the security questions and eventually hacking in or guessing a password, I can download your entire backup and get your text messages, literally anything that's ever been on that phone backed up.
Like if you check your bank accounts with your phone, that's been backed up?
Potentially, yes. I mean, this is a much larger problem than it first appears because, again, most people think, who would want to hack Dave Hatter? Who cares? Or Rob Williams.
You're
not Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly.
But there again, you can go out and find forums like on Anon-IB or 4chan where a lot of these pictures were leaked. Where people will offer to do this to anyone. And if you don't have the right information set up, you're potentially at risk.
So really for these hackers, releasing these photos of these celebrities could have been a calling card, correct?
Potentially, yeah.
Look what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge problem for Apple.
So let's talk about what you can do at home in terms of protecting yourself. Number one, assume nothing's private.
Assume nothing is private. If you don't want it out there, don't record it in any electronic form, period. You are setting yourself up for disaster, especially if you don't understand these technologies.
Okay, the other thing is ensure that your device is not automatically backing up on the cloud.
Right, you have to decide, again, there's pros and cons to this. It's great to be able to go out and get a new phone and move everything to it. There's other ways to do it besides the iCloud, and a lot of times people turn this stuff on without understanding the implications. So if you have that turned on and you can go in your phone settings and you got to decide, is that a good thing, right? And then use two-factor authentication. But the problem with that, two-factor authentication means...
What is that?
You need more than just a username and password. Like you may get a text message when you try to log in from Facebook or Apple or something with an extra code. There's additional information that would not be readily accessible that you have to supply. Most sites use this, so here's the problem with it. For Apple, in particular with iCloud, it doesn't cover all the services. So even if you turn it on, in this particular case, it still won't necessarily protect you.
Well, what can you do with pictures? Let's say people have some shady pictures on their phone that they need to get rid of.
My first advice is delete them and make sure if you are using iCloud or any kind of online backup, because this could potentially be done to Google Drive or Dropbox, anything that's getting automatically backed up, understand that someone could get into that, and you better get that stuff out of there before it gets exposed. So turn off any kind of automated backup services or at least delete stuff from the phone and make sure it's gone from those backups. And there's ways on different services to do that.
So there are 300+ million people who use the iCloud to back up all their devices. Your advice is that most of these people are at risk.
I would say if you've used it, you're potentially at risk, especially if you don't have a strong password, especially if you haven't taken like the security questions. If you enter information in the security questions like, oh, I forgot my password, my mom's maiden name, if someone could go to Facebook and find that out about me, and that's how a lot of these hacks are done. They find this information, they get your password, they log in, and then they have free reign to anything they want.
All right, Dave Hatter, thank you very much. Coming up at our 8 o'clock.